Imagine falling in love with a little girl you thought was your daughter, holding her, naming her, tattooing her name on your arm. Then one day, you take a DNA test, and boom, 0% match. She's not yours. You were never her father. But the state still wants you to pay. And when you speak out, they throw you in jail. Welcome to Brett Fairley's nightmare. And he's not alone.
I'm probably going to jail for this. This is the story of me agreeing to get an older woman pregnant and then her trying to ruin my life.
Girlfriend's a little mastermind.
Those nurses, they were narcissists too.
There's so many people who are viewed silently. While she was doing that, I was uncovering the truth. The truth about who the real father is. This is just the beginning of Maria's web of lies.
This is not just a wild TikTok story. This is about emotional manipulation, weaponized motherhood, and a broken legal system that doesn't care if the child is biologically yours. Once you sign, you are locked in. Brett Fairley's case is not just tragic, it's a warning to every man out there. So sit tight, let me take you on a ride that began with a one-night stand.
And it was Maria's early birthday party, and that's how I met her.
Got it. And then you guys went on a date some other day? Or?
Definitely wasn't a date. It
Okay.
was lunch turned into we're drinking all day and night, turned into a one-night stand. And that was it.
So the same day you met her was the day that you guys
Correct.
had the rendezvous later that night.
Yes,
okay.
correct.
And
Brett met Marianne Gwynn through what he thought was a one-night stand. Later, she texts him with a bizarre proposal. She wants a baby, no strings attached. Just a sperm donor. No relationship, no co-parenting. Brett agrees, thinking this is a casual arrangement. But soon after the baby is born, everything changes.
I'm assuming a couple months later, you hear...
It was like 2 weeks later.
Oh,
right?
2
Yeah.
weeks later, she's like, she's pregnant.
Yeah, and me not know. I've never. My brother has kids. I never was involved like how you do the conception dates and all that, and how long it takes to normally get pregnant. I didn't know. I mean, I grew up. I didn't do sex ed classes. I thought, you don't pull out or you wear a condom. Like, that's the only way you don't get someone pregnant. If you don't do either of those, they're pregnant. And I was like, so we do the 2 weekends. I go out of town, do Memorial Day in Lake Nacimiento. And then I come back, and she tells me she's pregnant after 2 weeks. I was like, oh, like, I'm the best at this. Like, give me a... We did it.
Maria shows up with the child, introduces Brett to her family, involves his family. She tells him a little girl needs a father. He starts helping financially. Then comes the birth certificate and the paternity acknowledgement. Brett signs, thinking it's just a formality, but in the eyes of the law, that signature makes him the legal father. Game over.
Were you there for the
I was.
delivery? Were your parents also there?
Yeah, we were the only three there. So
Okay.
I go there, and I watched a stranger, super intimate thing, give birth to a child who I think is mine.
Yeah.
I don't know her middle name. I'm just sitting there like a stranger in the room. Why am I watching this? Like I can't explain it. Like, I guess normally you would hold someone's hand, tell them you love them.
Yeah, but you're just like a witness almost. Yeah.
I just feel like a fly on the wall watching this, and they hand the baby to me for the first time. The first person to ever hold the baby aside from the doctor. And you're looking at a baby that no one's ever told you to believe that couldn't be yours. Your whole life changes.
Right.
It is something as a father that you're looking at this baby and you're like, I'm going to do better. I've got to change my entire life. I open the email and I'm reading it, and it's the first paternity test we ever did. And right there in the middle of the page, it says probability of, paternity is 0%. So I'm like scanning it really fast, and I'm just dead quiet, and I feel ghost white. I feel like weightless. And I look at Hadley, and I'm like, I'm not the dad.
Brett grows attached to the child. He names her, gets her middle name, love tattooed on his body, but something doesn't sit right. His girlfriend Hadley, a nurse, starts asking questions. The timeline doesn't add up. 2 DNA tests later, confirmation, zero biological link. Brett has been duped.
Yeah, so we went to court last Tuesday, I believe, or the week before, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
April 1st, April Fool's Day. We
Yeah.
went to court, and I testified for 6 hours straight. I brought the binder, and, lawyers being lawyers, they got some stuff, not able to admit, like all the text messages. We were in court, and
You can't admit the text messages, or?
lawyers being lawyers, they were able to block some of the stuff.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to get the text messages in. And whenever my lawyer hands her lawyer the text messages of all those things, I hope you fucking die, Brett, I'm on the stand saying, is there ever an instance where she's verbally abused you? I'm like, yeah, she told me to go fucking die multiple times. You're never going to see the kid again. Her lawyer's like, she would never say that. Texts get thrown out, whatever. They do cross-examine on me, and after 6 hours of testifying, just me, Maria didn't get on the stand, the judge comes to the conclusion that I will definitely not be getting any money back. The $52,000, I don't have enough for fraud. The judge said, okay, clearly you have enough here to get off the birth certificate. You're not the father. You've proved that today. And that is incredibly hard to do. It's almost impossible. So whenever the baby was born, you signed the birth certificate that day at the hospital. I didn't know that. There's also another form you sign called Acknowledgement of Paternity. And it states that you have 1 year to do a paternity test, and after that, it's like whenever the baby was born, you waive your rights forever. It's like you were married at the time of the birth. It's 2.5 years in, and their lawyers making this case, didn't you sign this paperwork? And I'm looking at it like, I did. Yeah, I did. I don't even remember that. I don't remember signing anything that day. I'm holding a new baby. I think it's mine. I'm just, whatever. I got a baby in my hands. They're saying that, Brett lost in court because I didn't get my $52,000 back. Her broke ass would never be able to pay me $52,000 back. I just wanted a judgment back. I wanted for her to have that hanging over her head. I knew I would never get it. I never initially wanted it, but it would have been a nice little cherry on top.
Brett shares his story online. People are outraged. TikTok goes wild. Podcast invite him. But the courts, they slam him with a gag order. He's not allowed to talk about it. He violates it and gets arrested. Meanwhile, Maria faces 0 consequences, not a single charge, not a dime repaid.
This is bigger than Maria. This is about a system where men can be legally bound to children who are not theirs, where courts prioritize emotional claims over biological truth, where a man's silence is enforced, but a woman's deceit is protected.
I'm over here in the hospital, y'all. Finna give birth to his child, and he over here questioning me, talking about, is this really his baby? Like, what are you talking about? Do you really think I'm sitting here have you up here at the hospital and everything with me just for nothing? Are you serious right now? What kind of baby dad does that right when we finna have this baby? Like, are you serious? You really gonna sit here and question the baby talking about, can you get DNA test? No, you're not getting no DNA test after this. I'm not doing that. This is your child. If you don't believe it's your child, then you could go ahead and go. I don't need you up here. Because all you're doing is stressing me out. Yeah, we are finna find out. And that's so weird for you to even be saying that, though. Why would you even say that? You don't never want to claim your kids. Why you never claiming your kids? Like, I don't be doing none of that cheating stuff or none of that. What are you doing? Bro, like, I'm sick of that. And you know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing, bro. Because I'm not getting no DNA test. So if he don't think it's his child, he just won't have a child. We don't really need you over here. He in here stressing me out. Like, look at me. I look a mess right now. And you over here doing all this extra stuff, stressing me out right now. Talking about you want DNA test. Okay. You gonna get the DNA test. You can really go ahead and go.
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father. Miss Miller.
Be respectful.
Sorry. That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve. You just showed me where your priorities were right there. But that cheering you did, what you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child. What you cheering for?
I'm not.
No, you were. He is over here breaking down because he loves this child so much. I sitting here day after day after day with women hoping a man would drive 16 miles to see their baby. And you have no compassion for not just him, but for Zaylee. She's 3 years old. Now, he's not just gonna be heartbroken. We gotta break this news to her. And y'all over here cheering like it's a sport. This is this baby's life. And I asked you, where's this other man? I don't know.
Why is paternity fraud not a criminal offense? Why are men still being forced to pay child support for kids they didn't father? Why can a woman lie, trap, and walk away with full custody, no penalty? Brett's story exposes a brutal truth. There is no justice for duped fathers. This is not just paperwork. Brett lost over $50,000 from his Airbnb business, paid $10,000 upfront, sent $750 a month for 2.5 years. That's not just money. That's mental torment, grief, betrayal. He even went to therapy to mourn a child that was never his. This is what happens when the system gaslights men into fatherhood. Men are taught to suck it up, to protect, to provide. But when they're deceived, betrayed, there's no hotline, no public support, just a courtroom and a bill. This story isn't viral because it's rare. It's viral because it's real, and men are tired of being silent casualties.
I don't care what she tell you, fellas. Paternity tests should be fucking mandatory. Mandatory. I don't care if you're married either. Married people cheat as well. Only concubines are afraid of paternity tests, fellas.
Paternity fraud, or what Jamaicans call jacket, is at an alarming level in Jamaica. But is the answer mandatory DNA testing at birth?
70% of firstborn children in Ghana do not belong to the man.
Mr. Brooks, why do you believe Mr. McDonald is your son?
The day he was born, I took her to the hospital. I drove her to the hospital. I was there. I watched him cut her open. I watched him pull my baby out. I watched him cry.
We got a serious problem in Jamaica, and we may have ignored it for a while and just take it for just a nice punchline when we're giving jokes, or a nice punchline in a song. But we have a problem, and the problem is paternity fraud, aka jacket. We got a jacket problem in Jamaica, you know?
Women do not like paternity tests. I don't know why, but anytime a woman is mentioned that she has to sign the paternity document, she goes wild. And especially when the child is a few years old, like let's say 5 or 6, they start bringing the issues of, after 10 years, no, we are not finding paternity as for now. So I'm asking women out there, why do you hate paternity tests? If you know this is the husband, this is the father to the child, why would you decline a paternity test? That means you have fishy business.
Gentlemen, never sign a birth certificate without a DNA test, ever. No matter how much you trust her, no matter how emotional it gets. Protect your future, because once that ink dries, it is nearly impossible to reverse it. We need mandatory DNA testing at birth, legal protections for wrongly assigned fathers, real consequences for paternity fraud, and a culture that stops treating men like disposable wallets.
You're not the dad, and like all of a sudden we went into this relationship as two single parents, and now like technically only one of us has kids, and like, are you going to want to date a single mom? Are you going to be like, I want to go have more biological kids, and I wanted you to know up front, like, I'm not going to have any more kids. So like, if that is what you want.
So guys, here's the plot twist. Brett is now in a relationship with Hadley, a recently divorced hospice nurse and single mother of 3. She has publicly declared she won't have more kids, meaning Brett, fresh out of a paternity nightmare, is now playing father figure to someone else's children. Again, financially, emotionally, it's a grey area, but it smells a lot like round 2 of emotional labor without legacy. Even more interesting, both Maria and Hadley are older. Brett seems drawn to older women, which might hint at a deeper pattern, chasing stability but getting entangled in power dynamics and emotional grooming. It is not malicious, but it is risky, especially when a man's biological legacy and emotional bandwidth are on the line. As you know, this channel is not about hating women. It is about demanding fairness. If we believe in equality, then it has to work both ways. No woman should be allowed to lie about paternity and walk away untouched, while the man loses his freedom, finances, and future. And no man should walk blindly from one trap into another, wearing the armor of a good guy badge.
If you could go back and speak to your younger self before the donation occurred, what would you say to young Brett?
Okay. One, before even talking to myself, I just want to preface that I wish that I'd heard a story like this before. I've never heard of a story like this before. I didn't know stuff like this even existed. That's why I'm grateful that it's getting the attention it is now, because maybe, you know, one day someone younger is going to see something like my videos and be like, hold up, that sounds like a terrible idea. I know someone who went through something horrible like that and did something stupid. So, I mean, honestly, at this point, I wish I would have, you know, said no and talked myself out of it or had someone talk me out of it. But in hindsight, I can't go back in time. I just know that I'm glad that I went through it, because I know it's going to help future men and, you know, going forward.
Yeah,
Alright guys, you've heard the facts. Brett Fairley's story is painful but powerful. If you found value in this breakdown, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel, because silence has never protected men. Only the truth does. See you in my next video.